Okay, I'm Sergeant Key with the Bedford County Sheriff's Office.
How do you spell that?
K-E-Y.
Perfect. And then your first name too?
Allison. A-L-L-I-S-O-N.
And a title for you?
Sergeant.
Okay, Sergeant is good. All right, well, you want to just kind of give us the rundown on what happened yesterday? What led you guys to the 26 dogs?
Okay. Well, I received an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers. Me and my other two officers responded to the residents. We did a knock and talk, and Mr. Dugan answered the door. He identified himself as the property owner. We seen several dogs outside originally that were concerning to us as far as, very skinny, thin. Once we approached the residents, we started to smell the smell of urine and feces. Like I say, when Mr. Dugan came to the door and the door opened, the wave of the ammonia hit us in the face and took our breath. Mr. Dugan was cooperative with us. He allowed us to come inside of the residence and see the dogs inside of the residence. Once we got inside, we realized immediately that we had a cruelty case based upon the living conditions of the animals. Most of the animals were in crates inside of the residence. The crates were filled with urine and feces. The dogs were saturated in urine. Most had feces in their fur. There was several dogs inside of the residence that were in pretty rough shape. Every bone in the body was showing. We found a mama dog and 3 puppies inside of a bedroom, and the mama dog was, every bone in her body was showing, to the point where I was very concerned of how she was able to nurse her puppies. The puppies seemed to be healthy. Most of the dogs didn't have any water inside of their crate, and like I say, the ammonia levels inside of the residence was very concerning. It took our breath, it burned our eyes and nose immediately, and we had to immediately come out for air several different times. Mr. Dugan remained cooperative with us. He showed us every dog on the property. He stated that he was the owner of all of these animals, and he acquired them from various people and, other places within and outside of Bedford County. I think Mr. Dugan at first probably did have a good heart and good intentions, and things just got really out of control for Mr. Dugan. So we did find several 50-pound bags of food inside of the residence. And Mr. Dugan did state that he fed the dogs every day and watered the dogs, and he didn't see a problem with any of the dogs other than the ones that he had under vet care, which was one that was seeing a vet for injury to the leg. So all dogs, we had 26 dogs and 3 baby puppies that we took from the residence. So all animals found on site were seized. And Mr. Dugan, like I say, was very cooperative with us in this investigation.
Now, earlier you were telling us about some of the conditions the dogs are in. Would you mind going back into detail?
Yes, ma'am. We use the scale that Dr. Ryan with Riverside Veterinarian Hospital uses, which the scale goes from a 1 to a 10. And the 1 being the least amount of body fat on the dog, which means virtually every bone in the body is showing. So you have the backbone here on this dog that's showing. You have the hip bones that are showing, and you can run your hair down through the fur and feel the leg bone, the shoulder bone, and the rib bones are showing. With the dogs that we pulled out of the residence, most of them were between a 1 and a 2. We did have several that were up to a 3 and a 4, which is considered a healthy weight. We had one dog that had severe breathing problems, and she's under the care of Dr. Ryan at Riverside right now. The mom and the 3 puppies are there under her care as well, and the dog with the hurt leg with the wound on her leg is there. Our main concern for all dogs was the ammonia levels in the residence and getting those dogs out into fresh air as soon as possible. We worked very fast and efficient on getting all the dogs out of the residence immediately. So that was our main goal.
How long did that process take to get them out of the house?
It took us we arrived on scene initially, I want to say approximately between 9 and 10. And then we didn't leave the scene last night to the last dog till probably about 6 o'clock. So we bought dogs outside and put them in pens so they could have fresh air as soon as we could. The transporting, we made several trips transporting dogs to Riverside Vet and here at the animal shelter, but we did secure the dogs outside so they had fresh air.
Can you talk a little bit about, you guys, when you guys were going in, you were having physical reaction to this smell, and talk about how I'm sure that probably, affected a lot of the dogs.
Yes, ma'am. I was in the house. I can't tell you, a definite answer on the house. I was going in and out. Immediately, my eyes started to water, my nose started to run, my lungs started to burn. I have been a police officer for 18 years, and I've never encountered a situation that was this strong of ammonia. I've been in many houses, and I have not encountered this before.
Are there any potential charges that are going to be brought against the owner at all?
Yes, sir. We've obtained charges on Mr. Dugan for animal cruelty, and pending our investigation, it's still underway. We're working with Dr. Ryan. There will potentially be more charges brought against Mr. Dugan.
I'm sorry. That's all right. We see a lot, you see the animals, and just, can you talk about the emotion that sometimes comes up behind such a thing whenever you first responded to this yesterday?
Yes, ma'am. Most of the dogs that were in the kennels were pawing at the door, trying to get out. Once we opened the door, the dogs literally jumped into our arms. There was not a dog there that put up a fight. It was like they were looking you in the eye saying, please help. They all rushed to the door. I had several of the dogs jump in my truck. I had a hound dog that we took that was actually crying. Tears were coming out of the dog's eyes. And I don't know if that was from ammonia or, he was happy. This little guy here, he'll jump up on you and he'll give you kisses, and it's just, they're grateful. The mom dog, as soon as I entered the door for the mom dog, she was protective of her pups. But once I got down, she jumped into my arms, and I carried her out of the residence with her puppies, and she was licking me in the face as to say thank you. So every dog there, they got a lot of hugs and kisses, and showed their appreciation for this.
And can you talk about the community support too? Just, I'm sure you've gotten calls, text messages.
Yes, ma'am. This is a bad situation. With my experience with Bedford County, we have the best community. People even outside of Bedford County has reached out to try to help these animals. Every bad situation, Bedford County seems to come together and make it a good situation. So it may have started out bad, but with the help and the support of our community, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to turn into a great situation for these animals.
This is kind of, sorry to go from that question to this question, but I remember I did a story on animal cruelty like a bit ago, and a lot of people, they see like, oh, the charges were dropped, or because he had been previously charged or with some kind of like animal cruelty, and those charges were dismissed and stuff. But I think it's like animal cruelty and animal abuse. Are they like two different things, or what are kind of the laws and the punishments? What can people expect?
Well, animal cruelty, if the dog dies, it becomes a felony, or the second conviction of animal cruelty becomes a felony. The first charge of animal cruelty in these situations will be a misdemeanor charge per dog. So it's a class 1 misdemeanor. So he can face jail time and a fine if convicted.
And would you mind just diving into the breakdown? So there were 26 dogs. How many are here? How many are with Dr. Ryan? And then talk about the recovery process for these dogs.
Okay, Dr. Ryan currently has 15 dogs at her vet's office, and then we have 14 here at the Bedford County Animal Shelter. Dr. Ryan will see every dog and treat every dog. This is overwhelming to her, and she has many clients, and she has to see the priority cases first, in which she is. Dr. Ryan has been great with my court cases here in Bedford County, and we really appreciate her taking on these cases. This is a huge case for one vet to be able to see 29 dogs. So the healing process of these dogs is she's going to draw blood work and she's going to do the initial to make sure that the lungs are okay. If they need antibiotics, she'll provide that. The main thing is fresh air, food, and water, immediately. For a dog like this, you have to feed several different meals throughout the day, and our shelter staff is great with that. I can't say enough about our shelter staff because they are a big part of healing these dogs here at the animal shelter. So this is a very time-consuming process. So small meals throughout the day, cleaning their cage, making sure they have a dry bed now, addressing the wounds, the urine scalds on their legs. The shelter staff does that here. So between the shelter staff and Dr. Ryan, these dogs are in the best hands possible.
What do you want to tell folks who might be now wanting to be pub owners, right? They might want to get dogs. I think I saw something that some of the shelters might be a bit over capacity.
Yes, sir. Before this, we were at capacity. Bedford County Animal Shelter usually stays at capacity. Bedford County is a big county. Animal control is constantly bringing in dogs, whether it be court cases or owner sign-over. Dr. Ryan boards for us, so a lot of my court cases, she boards for us. That frees up space here at the animal shelter because otherwise the dogs would have to be euthanized that are off a stray hold in order for these dogs to have placement here. Friends of Bedford County Animal Shelter, the rescue group, they work wonders for this animal shelter. They're constantly finding rescue, foster homes, and homes for these animals. So again, Dr. Ryan boarding these dogs for us to free up space at the animal shelter so we don't have to euthanize for space. People have been very generous in the donations just on this court case. We have gotten tons of applications for people that want to adopt and people that want to foster. These dogs here cannot be released for adoption until the vet clears them and the judge clears. We have to go to trial. If the judge finds Mr. Dugan's guilty, the dogs could be released back or released to the Bedford County Animal Shelter. If he's found not guilty, the dogs could go back to Mr. Dugan. So we have to hold these dogs until the court process is done. And I know everybody wants to come today and adopt a dog. We have dogs for adoption. Not this particular case, but we have dogs for adoption. We always have dogs for adoption. Go to your local animal shelter and please adopt and save a life. That helps these guys.
Is there anything we might have missed you'd like to add?
I appreciate you guys coming out here and getting these dogs, as well as the dogs that are up for adoption here. Some, media attention, the public, like that's how they help. If you can't adopt, donating $1, that $1 adds up. If you can't adopt and you want to foster, we have applications where you can become a foster. If you can only come out once a week and walk dogs at the animal shelter, you can fill out an application to become a volunteer to walk dogs. So any little thing can help these dogs, and we appreciate the public's assistance in this greatly.
Does that little guy have a name there, or is he just kind of...
We haven't named this little guy yet. We're still waiting on his personality to name him. So when he feels a little bit better, I'm sure we'll get one for him.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
What's Sheriff Miller doing? He didn't want to hang out with us?